There are many ports in Mexico, but only 4 that really matter, or 5. Here's a list of the ports. The West Coast ports, Manzanillo, Lázaro Cárdenas, are most important. Particularly, remember one of my first slides showed maritime flows, and they're primarily with Asia. Our trade with Europe is important, but not as significant. So no surprise, Manzanillo and Lázaro Cárdenas are important. Particularly also, we're part of trade agreements with Peru and Chile, so a lot of the freight between Peru and Chile comes to these ports, Manzanillo and Lázaro Cárdenas. Manzanillo continues to dominate, Lázaro Cárdenas growing quickly, both of them linked by rail. Veracruz and Altamira are very important on the Gulf Coast. Altamira particularly focused on the automotive industry. This shows intermodal freight, and again, intermodal, I'm talking about containers, and so it wouldn't include barges or bulk material. And Asia has been the fastest growing container flows on these charts. So Asia is the gray bar, Pacific freight, and the green is steady European. Last but not least, I want to do an overview of the third-party logistics industry in Mexico. 3PLs, as they're called, third-party logistics service providers, are companies to which you can delegate logistics operations. So if you have decided that your core competency is manufacturing or distributing, and it isn't about buying trucks or leasing warehouses for storage, then what you can do is outsource that to these companies. On the left-hand side in green, we've got national players, and on the right-hand side in blue, we've got international players, many of whom are in Mexico originally because their clients have asked them to operate in Mexico, but also they're finding the market in Mexico is a growing market for third-party logistics services. And just last week, the ink dried on the acta constitutiva of the new Asociación de Operadores Logísticos de México, and so there is now an industry organization. Again, this organization, as opposed to the CSCP, is an institution of companies, and you'll see a check mark with the companies that are founding members of this organization. So we're hoping that the Asociación will be producing some information about that industry. It's very, very difficult to get information about the 3PL industry in Mexico. It's hard to find out information about its size, who's doing what, but perhaps this group of companies will start to release some information about the sector. We look forward to that. A few public sector initiatives I wanted to talk about. As I mentioned, we have a close relationship with the Ministry of the Economy, and they have been working on a project that's quite interesting. It's called Plataformas Nacionales, Sistema Nacional de Plataformas Logísticas, and you can find information about that on the web. The objective there was to avoid having different states in Mexico competing to create logistics hubs that might not make sense. So rather, what the government has said, let's rationalize this, and let's find what are the best locations, taking into consideration points of consumption and points of production. And so the federal government is then going to provide incentives for development at those points. So you don't have in one state, one neighboring state competing with the other and having two failed hubs. Also, we've got national supply chain performance evaluation indicadores. This is a project that the Ministry of Economy launches every couple of years, and it is a benchmarking study. We just finished reviewing with the latest version of their questionnaire, which is going to now include for the first time e-commerce. So the objective there is for, again, you can find information about this on the web at the Ministry of Secretaría de Economía. What are some of the indicators that help us measure inventory turns, logistics costs at large and small logistics companies in Mexico? It's a very interesting initiative, and I think it's a result of the government recognizing that logistics is an important topic to Mexico, and it's an area where we need to improve. Another thing, third bullet there is the awards that we have. Condenó, along with México Logística and Secretaría de Economía, issue awards every year to executives and companies who are performing innovative solutions in logistics. So if you think you've got a particularly innovative project, then let us know, and you might be one of these awards. This is by the way, this is from the Plataformas Nacionales, Sistema Nacional de Plataformas Logísticas, shows how they decided the methodology they used. What does this mean all for the question that we're here to discuss, site selection? What we try to do, and then those of us who are logisticians, particularly consultants, trying to help our clients figure out, hey, what's the trade-off between transportation costs and warehousing costs and service. So this is just a conceptual chart that shows that the more, for example, the greater number of distribution centers that you might have, well then your cost per distribution center might increase, but your facility cost will increase, but your actual delivery costs will go down. Those are the conceptual curves, and it's actually validated by what happens. This is the result of a study performed recently where we studied 3 versus 4 distribution centers for a company, and in fact, you'll find that, ironically, this might be surprising to some people, the cost of having more distribution centers will actually save you significantly on transportation costs. So those are some of the elements that you need to consider when you're identifying where to locate your operations in Mexico. I think that's about it. So I left a little bit of time for questions if anyone has any, and then I think we have one more presentation and Dr. Dresser. Did anyone have any questions about the information that I presented or the organization that I represent? No, if not, then I believe the information might be available on the website. Excellent. All right, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.